Guys, and welcome to a rainy edition of the Kacee Allen Outdoor Podcast. The weather around us is not so great this evening, but we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to get through to some great stuff. So, some of the largest news in mainstream media, which is the firing of two of the most iconic figures, and that was Tucker Carlson of Fox News and Don Lemon of CNN. So we're going to start with Don Lemon, first of all. He was there for about 17 years at CNN. His viewers were heavily declining over the years, so it wasn't particularly surprising to see him go and get ousted by CNN. But shockingly, Tucker Carlson was let go, and that was a big wake-up call and just a very, very shocking thing that a lot of people didn't expect in the media and how Fox News turned on him. But to give you a summary of Tucker's career, he's been with Fox News since 2016 with his show Tucker Carlson Tonight. He's the largest cable host on TV with an average of 3 million viewers a night. However, on April 23rd, Fox News announced they were parting ways with Tucker and his show would no longer be airing on their network, and this was the official statement they released. Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. Mr. Carlson's last program was Friday, April 21st. Fox News will air tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern starting this evening as an intern show will be helmed by rotation Fox News personalities until a new host is named. So Fox, however, was claiming that this was a mutual decision, but when you watch the final moments of Tucker's last episode on the previous Friday, everything seems normal, and you can even see that he'll say, "We'll be back on Monday," and his usual loud and exciting tone as we see right here.
Tyler Burrell joins us in studio. He will deliver literally anywhere. Tyler, it is so great to meet you in person.
A couple Coco's pies.
So these are from Coco's, established 1978. This is sausage.
That's sausage
and pineapple. And really quick, as a pizza professional, do you look down on this order? Is this?
I do. I think that I consider a criminal.
I knew you did. That's it for us for the week. We'll be back. By the way, the entire episode of Let Them Eat Bugs, not quite as good as pizza, streaming now on Fox Nation. Use the promo code ORIGINALS for 30 days free. And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend.
So clearly after watching that, Fox News had an unknown motive to remove Tucker Carlson. I think this was a shock to him, and he was abruptly fired. And now the reasons behind Tucker Carlson's firing are still unclear. Some speculate that it was due to his recent comments about COVID-19. Others believe that it was because of his controversial statements about race and immigration. Regardless of the reasons, it's clear that Tucker's firing has created a lot of buzz in the media around the world. Tucker was such a polarizing figure over at Fox News that the stock actually dropped 3% right after the firing. And it may not seem like a lot, but $600 million in loss, that's quite a bit in just a small amount of time. But personally, I believe that Tucker's firing is a concerning example of cancel culture run amok. Tucker has always been a voice of reason and common sense in media landscape that is often dominated by sensationalism and hyperbole. He has never been afraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo, even if it means going against the mainstream narrative. Tucker has always been a staunch defender of free speech and the First Amendment. He believes that everyone, regardless of their political beliefs, should have the right to express their opinions and ideas without the fear of retribution or censorship. Unfortunately, it seems that Fox News has succumbed to the pressure from the left-wing media and other groups who are intent of silencing dissenting voices. Mainstream media is owned by corporate interests, and they do not serve our empowerment. These are authoritarian, centralized systems of power. For instance, the pharmaceutical industry is the largest funder of mainstream media. Don't you see how that's a conflict of interest and that's all puppetry? So then there's Don Lemon's situation. His firing was quite fishy but amusing. Lemon claimed in a tweet that no one had the decency to inform him of the firing, and shortly after he was fact-checked by his own network, CNN, on Twitter, stating, "Don Lemon's statement about this morning's events is inaccurate. He was offered an opportunity to meet with the management, but instead released a statement on Twitter." Great stuff here, guys. CNN had to fact-check the firing of a 17-year reporter. I mean, really great stuff. It just shows a glimpse of their credibility. This decay of trust in the mainstream media is slowly but surely steering viewers away from these fabricated platforms. Journalism and corporate media will be decimated in time because not enough people will be watching to keep them running. Independent media such as YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter will continue to flourish as we can speak almost as freely as we'd like. There is still occasional biased censorship with the YouTube and other platforms, but in general, content producers like myself can be much more authentic in situations where you can't be, and you're pressured by the larger institutions. Whatever Tucker Carlson decides to do after this will be very successful. He's extremely talented and has a large audience. I believe, if anything, this will publicize him even more and grow his fan base. Tucker would be great at hosting his own talk show or podcast, as he would be able to truly express himself in ways that he wasn't able to while working in the corporate media. He was a guest on the Full Send podcast and spoke more authentically and was completely unpressured. It was really interesting to watch that one. He went on for 2 hours and was extremely entertaining. I really recommend you watch that one on the Full Send podcast, the Nelk Boys, Tucker Carlson, great stuff. There's also a video of Tucker Carlson inadvertently being recorded, and he's saying some very bad things about Fox and how their website is just not very good in general. But is that the reason that he was fired, or could that maybe be a reasoning? Here's a clip to check out.
I don't want to be I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that many people watch anyway. We're gonna because I'm like a representative of the American media now, speaking to an exile in Romania and welcoming him back into the Brotherhood of Journalists.
Yeah, it would help us out if you wore a sweater though, because we asked him not to wear a suit. Like, he was panicking about it. So you don't have to. Tucker's gonna be looking casual. That's just how our show looks. Is that okay?
I mean, this is airing on the nighttime show, and I want it to look official. I don't want it to be like bro talk. And I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the majority of it, like if we go like 45 minutes, it's going to be for Fox Nation.
But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube. But anyway, that's just my view. I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. And they're like making like Lifetime movies, but they don't work on the infrastructure of the site. Like, what? It's crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's like we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. It's unbelievable, actually. I don't know who runs that site.
We're going to play a sizable chunk on the show tomorrow night. That's the plan. And then what it's going to do is drive a lot of people to watch this on Fox Nation. It's going to be a great help to what we're doing over there on TV today.
I know, but we're doing our part. We're like working like animals to produce all this content, and the people in charge of it, whoever that guy's, whatever his name is, like they're ignoring the fact that the site doesn't work. And I think it's like a betrayal of our efforts. That's how I feel. So of course I resent it.
Tucker went completely silent all week since the incident occurred until yesterday, when he tweeted a very inspirational video as to the reasoning of his ousting and how he is processing everything. Take a look.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
I like how he handled himself there. Very professional and looked as confident as ever. You know Tucker has big things headed his way. In conclusion, I believe that Tucker Carlson was unjustly fired from his job at Fox News. While some of his comments may be deemed controversial, they are not hateful or harmful. Tucker is a strong voice in the conservative movement, and his viewers deserve to be heard. It's important that we allow for open and honest discussions about important issues, even if we don't always agree with each other. Thank you for tuning in for another episode, and I hope you found this perspective of Tucker Carlson's firing and corporate media to be informative when deciding where to get your sources from. The next episode will be airing sometime next week. The title is The Magic of Psychedelic Therapy. I hope you guys are excited for that one. But other than that, make sure to like and comment down below. We'll see you next week.
Trying